Well, last week, San Francisco's Board of Supervisors, having solved every problem in the city, voted to classify the National Rifle Association and all 5 million of its members as a domestic terror organization. For now, the plan is just to delegitimize supporters of the Second Amendment, but plenty of people on the left don't want to stop there. No, not close. In a new Rasmussen poll, 28% of Democrats, almost a third, say it should be illegal to belong to any gun rights organization. Illegal. In other words, almost a third of all Democrats believe it should be a crime to openly support part of the U.S. Constitution. Carlson NRA is well-versed in all matters Second Amendment related, is a frequent guest on this show, and we're happy to have him tonight. Carlson, thanks a lot for coming on. So 28% say of Democrats polled, I'm assuming this is a real poll, it's a reputable pollster, that it should be illegal to belong to an organization that advocates on behalf of a constitutional right. What do you make of that?
I'm not surprised. It's essentially what happens when you have a society that starts to champion the idea of emotion over intellect. We've essentially turned into basically a big group of mean girls, where basically if I don't like what they do and like what they say, you can't join them or be a part of them either. That's all emotion. But the idea of communicating and engaging in intellectual conversation about a topic, we can't do that now. It's almost essentially a dumbification of America. I literally feel like I'm in a modern-day version of idiocracy.
Yeah, there's a hysterical quality to a lot of our conversations, which aren't actually, as you just pointed out, conversations. They're more, people emoting past each other, getting red in the face, and a lot of heavy breathing, but there are very few reasoned arguments taking place anymore. I think you're absolutely right. What should the average gun owner or Second Amendment supporter think about this? Should we be worried?
I do think we should be worried, because you have to ask yourself the question, especially considering the idea of tagging a certain organization as being a terrorist organization, domestic terrorist organization, simply because you don't agree with them. But what's the end goal here? We're talking about an organization that has 5 million people who are American citizens. So what are we going to do? We're going to start rounding them up and throwing them in prison too? And the irony is our founding fathers were considered terrorists by way of the British government because they wanted to come and confiscate our firearms, and they said no. So now we're literally dealing with elements in our own country who are saying, you know what, we want to prevent you from owning firearms, and as a result of that, we're going to deem you a terrorist. So they've essentially proved the point why the Second Amendment is as relevant today as it was in 1791 when the Second Amendment was ratified, in that, no, you actually do want to eliminate the idea of bearing arms in this country, and you'll go to whatever extreme possible to do it, even to deem you a terrorist. And we all know what we do with terrorists in this country. It's not a good sight. So what's the end goal? That's the question we really need to be asking, because it's essentially extremely dangerous.
It is, and it does kind of strike you, if you think about it, that this same group of people is siding with criminals over the law-abiding, has opened our borders to foreign nationals whose names we don't even know, is presiding over a country that's getting dirtier and more chaotic and more dangerous. And at exactly the point all of this is happening, they're saying, you don't have the right to defend yourself. That should make us nervous, I would think.
It makes me, look, I've done a whole documentary series on San Francisco. I think we even talked about it on your show in the past.
Yes,
and I remember being there, and thank you very much. And I vividly remember being there. My concealed carry in Texas doesn't transfer over to California. So I was walking these streets without the ability to protect myself, and I didn't like it. It wasn't a very comfortable situation. So I can only imagine the people that have to live there day in and day out, considering all of the crime that's going on there now. Yeah, it's a serious problem.
Yeah, I think the best response the next time somebody demands that, you give up your guns, okay, you first. And none of them will, I notice.
And to be honest with you, Tucker, even if they did give it up, I wouldn't give mine up.
No, of course not. Great to see you tonight. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Tucker.